What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. This is the segment on my channel where I go back through A24's entire catalog from the first film that they released all the way till whenever I get caught up. And the movie I'm going to be discussing today, I'm going to be completely honest, I was not excited to watch this movie. For starters, the poster looked absolutely atrocious. I had not even seen a trailer for this movie, but I went on Letterboxd and saw some of the abysmal reviews for this one. And I also saw that it was co-produced by DirecTV, which, if you guys have been watching this series now, this is like the 64th movie from A24 that I've reviewed. Every time I watch one that's co-produced by DirecTV, I tell you, there's a couple exceptions, but for the most part, every single movie A24 is co-produced with DirecTV has been hot garbage. So I did not have very high expectations for this movie, and the film I'm going to be discussing with you today is Backstabbing for Beginners. Backstabbing for Beginners is directed by Per Fly. An idealistic young employee at the UN investigates the grisly murder of his predecessor and uncovers a vast global conspiracy that may involve his own boss. So, as I said, I was not very excited to watch this movie, and you can add this onto the list of the worst things that A24 has ever produced. I cannot believe that A24 put their name on this. This movie is a hot, steaming pile of garbage, and unfortunately, it has a really interesting concept, and I think this movie, in the hands of a competent director with some talent, some actual acting talent involved, could have made for like a really thoughtful piece of cinema, but instead this is like an hour and 40 minutes of nothing. It's just the most bland, formulaic, by the numbers thriller that I've ever seen, and I'm gonna try to talk about this movie without boring myself to sleep. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Michael Sullivan, played by Theo James. His dream job is to work at the United Nations, and he ends up getting the ability to interview for this job at the United Nations, and he gets hired by the United Nations to do this job, where he assists the head of the Oil for Food program that assists the citizens of Iraq, that helps them get food and shelter and medicine and be taken care of without aiding Saddam Hussein with oil sales. And so he goes to Baghdad to work at his job and to be introduced to all these people. And while he is there, he is slowly uncovering some corruption that may be going on with his boss, who is portrayed by Kingsley. And while he is there, he meets this young woman. The two of them form this relationship, and the entire film is him trying to do this job while also uncovering all this corruption and scandal that is going on underneath the surface. So as I said, this movie is absolutely terrible. I really don't have any positives to this movie other than it's competently shot. It looks like the person who they hired as the cinematographer knew how to point the camera and how to make a movie. That's about all I can say positive. The performances in this movie are horrendous. Theo James gives one of the most laughable performances I have ever seen. He looks completely lost the entire movie. It feels like he's reading off of the script every single line that he delivers. There's nothing natural or charismatic or charming about his performance. He's literally just a guy. Like, the entire movie, it's like just watching a guy who is the most uninteresting, bland, boring individual that you've ever seen. All the other performances in this movie are really lackluster. Even the incredible Kingsley delivers one of the most awful performances of his entire career in this. It was like, from the very first scene that he was introduced, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you're not even trying. Like, it just seems like everyone in this movie just made it so that they could make a quick paycheck, which is funny because it's like, this is not the type of movie that I would see people just quickly like becoming involved in for a cash grab. Like, the subject matter, it just doesn't make any sense that you would want this to be the movie that you're gonna try to make a quick buck off of. And the thing that really irritated me with this movie is they wanted it to be this like political thriller, right? But so many sequences are just people having discussions in a room, and they'll just slowly amp up the music to try to make you as an audience member be like, hey, if you remember, this is a thriller. You're supposed to feel some form of anxiety for this character. You're supposed to feel like there's something going on, or they're going to uncover something mysterious. But it feels so laughably manipulative. Like they know the subject matter is not engaging enough for an audience to stay completely and totally invested for an hour and 40 minutes. So they randomly just kind of plug in the score and just elevate it. So it's like, oh, we're emotionally moving you in this moment. And that was so incredibly irritating to me. I hate movies that do that. I hate movies that don't understand their own tone. It was just really frustrating. And then the forced romance in this movie was like so laughably bad. And by the end of this, I'm like, how did I even make it through this movie? Like this thing is just so poorly put together. Like I said, the cinematography is competent, but there are moments with ADR in this film that was laughable, where like the mouths don't even match up to what the actors are saying. And so it's clear that this movie did not have a very large budget either. And I'm just really curious as to what compelled this director to make this movie, because I think the subject matter, like I said, in the hands of a competent director could be a really fascinating film, but instead this just feels like a laughable made-for-TV movie that I won't remember a single scene of by next week. So have you seen Backstabbing for Beginners? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely horrible. I don't ever want to watch it again, and it is a bottom-of-the-barrel A24 movie. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.